In this list, we're adding the prefix dis to a root or base word. So we've got disobey, disappear, disappoint, disbelief, distribute, discipline, displeasure, discourage, distinguish, and discriminate. Now, there's a lot of revision in this list. The easy part is the prefix dis. So in obey, you've got the EY making the long A sound. In disappear, because you've got a short vowel here, you're doubling the P after it. Now in disobey, you had a long vowel sound O, so you only had one consonant after it. So this is like a million words in spelling. When you know short vowel, double the consonant, or two consonants after it, they don't have to be the same. Long vowel, one consonant after it. When you know that rule, I say it equates to about a million words you don't have to learn. So EAR and URE are both R-controlled vowels, so they're going to make long sounds. Now in disappoint, you've got the short vowel, double the P, you've got the OI for the OI sound there. Now in disbelief, you could have the E represented by just an E, like in me, be, etc. And you've got I before E except after C, where it makes the E sound. So you've got that long E sound there. Distribute, you've got the E making the U make its long sound. Now discipline, and we've got discourage. You've got, in discipline, you've got the I making the C, make its soft sound S, and in discourage, you've got the GE making the G make its soft sound J. Now when you've got a U after a G, as in distinguish, it's protecting that G to make sure that it makes the G sound. Because if we allow it to have, if we didn't have the U there, the I would come forward and then we'd have the J sound, which would be incorrect. It's soft sound. So go through and highlight anything that you can within those words to make the spelling easier. Do remember that EA can make a long E sound or a short E sound. What do these words mean? So disobey means to defy, disappear means to vanish, disappoint means failure to fulfill hopes or expectations, disbelief means doubt, distribute means to give a share of something to a number of recipients, discipline means training people to obey rules or codes of behaviour. Displeasure means annoyance. Discourage means dishearten or to cause to lose confidence or enthusiasm. Distinguish means to recognise or treat someone as different, or to point out a difference, or to mark oneself as worthy of respect of one's behaviour or achievements. And discriminate or means distinguish or differentiate in a way that is unjust. So if you want to use discriminate, you usually follow it with the word against. So discriminate against. So you're saying what you think is unjust. You can see from yesterday's work that we're covering a lot more than just the dis prefix in this set of words. So it's very much a revision list for you. So here you have to make the word then match to its definition. So you're just going to join the prefix to the root or base word, write it on the line, and then use a different coloured colour, highlighter or pencil or texter to link the word to its definition. Down here, you're going to fill the gap with the correct list word. So you have to know the meanings of these words, which we did on day one, so that you can fill in the sentences correctly. Now, discipline can be used as both a verb and a noun. We want you to show it being used as a verb in one sentence and as a noun in the other sentence. Then write an antonym. So antonym means the opposite for the list word. So we've given you 3 list words. We want you to write the opposites for the given words here. Use the words in a sentence. You've got disappear and disobey, discourage and discriminate, and distinguish and displeasure. So one sentence for each pair of words. In this set of words, we're adding the prefix dis to a base or root word. But the base or root words have some tricky spelling in them, so that provides a hard part of this list and the revision. So EY can make the long A sound, as in they, obey, way. Disappear, you've got a short vowel here, so remember to double the consonant after a short vowel in disappear and disappoint. You've also got a revision of the EAR, R-controlled vowel at the end of the word here. We've got another R-controlled vowel underneath, U-R-E. Now in disappoint, you've got the OI in the middle of a word for the OI sound. In belief, you've got a long E sound just with the E, and I before E except after C also makes the long E sound. You've got the E on the end of a word making the previous vowel long in some of these words too. Now in displeasure, the EA can make a short vowel sound E or a long E sound E. Discourage, you've got the OU making an ut sound. Now the reason we have the U after the G in distinguish is to protect the G from making its soft sound J if the U wasn't there, because you know a G followed by an I makes the G make its soft sound J rather than G. Now let's go down and see what you have to do today. Make the list word into a noun, then fill in the gap with one of these nouns. So we're going from a verb to a noun. So do take note of this. It might even be worthwhile you going through and highlighting the endings here, because you know that that's going to help you form a noun in your writing in sentences in the future. So once you've made the words, then you've got to choose which word goes in to fill which space in each sentence. Now make the list words into adjectives. So now we're going from a verb to an adjective. So do take note of the endings that we're using here to form an adjective. That could also be handy in your writing in the future. Now when using discriminate as a verb to mean distinguish or differentiate in a way that is unjust, you must put against after discriminate. So you're always going to write discriminate against. And then you're going to say what you think is unjust. So we've given you an example. I don't like how they discriminate against women. So you could write your own sentence and say what you don't think is fair. So we want two sentences written for discriminate against. Verb families, you know, you've got your base word, adding the ES here, distinguish is if you hear the is at the end. If you're just hearing an s at the end, you just add an S. Now if a word ends in E goes away when in comes to stay, and when you're adding ED to the end of a word, if there's already an E there, you don't add another one, you just add the D. Now we want you to use all the verbs in a sentence. Try for different tenses. So one example of each of these verbs in a sentence. So this page is all about the prefix change rule, where we're allowed to change the last letter of the prefix to, in this case, match the first letter of the base or root word. So we're allowed to change ob to op or of. So you can see here oppose, we don't say that, we'd say oppose, so we're changing the B to a P. And we're also doing it in offer. We don't say obfer, we say offer, so we're changing the B to an F here. We can change the prefix con to com or cor to match the first letter of the base or root, the prefix sub to match the first letter of the root, add to at or ap to match the first letter or the root of base word, which you can see there, and in can change to im or IR to match the first letter of the base word or root word. Now the second type of prefix change rule that you see happening here is that prefixes change their final letter to im, so in changes to im, when they're added to roots that start with M, P or B. So con we would change to com and in to im. So we'd say combine and imbalance because of the B of the starting letter of the root or base word being, so it could be a B, a P or an M. Now the third type of prefix change rule is that we're allowed to change or drop the final letter of the prefix. So dis, we cut off the S to get divide, or X, we cut off the X to get event. So let's go through the explanation here. This is when they are added to a root starting with F. The last letter changes to F, so that's you'll see that happening in these examples. It can also be used when adding it to other roots. The last letter of the prefix is dropped. So dis means apart from or not, and X means out of. So rather than saying disfer, we say differ. So we're changing the last letter, the S, to an F to match the first letter of the root if it's an F. And we can also get rid of the last letter of that prefix if needed.